Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Lisa's Love and Light. Thank you all for being here today with me on this Tuesday afternoon. I hope you all are having a great day. Now, get ready for this topic of discussion. Topic of discussion is healing, respect, and self worth. So let's get into this topic. I tried to come on a few minutes ago. I don't know what was happening, but here I am. Um, we've been talking about a lot lately, guys. And one of the reasons I'm doing it in this manner because it's going to resonate with someone. Someone or a few someones are watching, and these messages are going to resonate with them. And as it resonates with you, we're going to talk about some ways to get through these things. And one of the ways I do that is by sharing with you guys what I've gone through, the struggles, the trials, biting through, crawling, being consistent and persistent and persevering. The key factor in all these things is to persevere and never give up on yourself. Never, ever give up on your physical and mental healing because without that, you can't do anything for yourself or anyone else. So, the topic of discussion is healing, respect, and self worth. When you start to heal, you start to grow. And as you grow in the healing process, you start to self love and you start to know your self worth, which is important because as you learn what your self worth is, you're going to make positive changes in your life. And let's talk about some of those changes. I have a few notes here so I don't forget what I need to cover here today that's going to help someone. One of the things as you grow and in this healing process is that the people before who were disrespecting you, just being abusive, being the most and the worst. For me, I no longer tolerate that as I grow and heal because I know my self worth. And I know that it's those things were never, ever for my highest good. And those things are not for your highest good. If someone is around you, whether it's family, no matter who it is, what the relationship is, if they're speaking disrespect on your name, being abusive, being a most and a worst to you, you know, as you start to learn your self worth, that those things are not for your highest good. It's only going to lower your vibration and it brings more toxicity to your life and to your table, which you do not need. And these are some of the things that I've learned as I started to take the garbage to the curb, so to speak, clean house and get rid of everything that's toxic and not for my highest good. And, people start to feel some kind of way. But I started in small steps by first setting boundaries. And, when I start to set those boundaries, people are like, girl, sit down, shut up, what kind of, and which is disrespectful. I started to reiterate those boundaries. And I don't have to act out of character. I don't have to use profanities to do so. Just be firm in what I'm stating. And they continue to do that. So the next step was to cut off, block, and delete. And in the beginning, I used to feel like some kind of way about it, but I grew stronger. And as I did, I didn't matter to me because I don't deserve to be disrespected. You don't deserve to be disrespected or abused. Um, and I share a lot with you guys, little by little, because I want you to understand that I'm not Miss Perfect and my life was never perfect. And all the things I went through, I had to bite, crawl, and persevere through to get from A to B to C to D. And people felt some kind of way about that. I guess they wanted me to lay there and take it, but that is not what we're supposed to be doing. This is why I got on this journey to heal, because all these things affect our physical and mental health. which can cause stress and all types of illnesses that we don't need and want within our lives. Um, One thing I could tell you guys is that I have zero tolerance for disrespect, and I teach people how to respect me. And if they brush me off, girl, sit down, shut up kind of attitude, what I do is give them a dose of medicine. And that medicine is my total 100% silence. I refuse to tolerate any form of disrespect or abuse at this stage of the game in my life. you know and as you start to do the work little by little, you take baby steps, and then as you do more work, you start to grow in your confidence and know what's for your highest good, and you start to self-love. When you self-love, you self-care, and you won't accept these things in your life anymore. Let's talk a little bit about how I grew up. I grew up in New York, and you know I grew up to know, how do I say this? To know consent of mine. I was a minor. Grew up in a cult-like religious setting where women were devalued. I grew up in this cult-like setting where women were devalued, and many women accepted it as it was. Women were to be seen and only heard if they wanted you to be heard. Women were good to be seen and not heard, and women were good to be married to, have children, and to do what their spouse tell them to do, to be subservient. And if you did anything different, like break their rules and regulations or question them too much, like I did, then you jeopardize your standing with them, and you look forward to being shunned, which is excommunicated, because you're not following what they tell you is standard. And I was never standard. I always marched to the beat of a different drum, because I could no longer twist myself inside and out like a pretzel to follow their rules and regulations. And when I started to question things, it started to be uncomfortable for them, because, I'm a woman. Question what? Just do what you're told. That's it. Why are you asking all these questions? They wanted me to stay in line. And that's not who I am. When something doesn't sound right, it doesn't feel right, I'm going to question it. And the questions were, I guess, uncomfortable to them, whatever. And I started to slowly stray away from, as I got older, from the religious organization, and ventured out on my own, which caused more issues for me. But it was a learning experience. Like I tell you guys, situations, circumstances, and people come into our life for a reason, a season, a lifetime, or a lesson. And these were hardcore lessons, because my entire family is affiliated with this cult-like religious organization. So when I was shunned, I lost all of that for the most part. And it was hard. It was very hard, because I was in my early 20s when this happened. I could not stop associating with outsiders. I could not stop being who I am for their benefit. And, it just, one thing led to another, to the shunning. And and then I had to move out. So it was just, very, very difficult for a long time. But lessons were learned, and it is so important to just allow people to be who they are, instead of trying to twist and mold them like a piece of clay into what you want them to be, because it's never going to work out in the end. So I'm saying all of this. Let me give you an example of something when it comes to women. One of my sisters had a friend within the organization, and this friend went to a party. I'm not sure if my sister was at that party or not, but the friend went to a party, and this guy went. They were both members of this organization, And I guess they had a little bit too much. They were not married to each other, and they got in a situation where they were intimate and she got pregnant. Guess who got excommunicated? They both lay down together. Okay. She didn't have this, she didn't get pregnant by herself, but guess who got shunned and excommunicated? She did. Why? Because she's the one carrying the load. He got on, what is it called, reproof or whatever, which is a slap on the wrist, while she got pregnant and she was shunned. And let me tell you a little bit about the shunning process. They can tell you whatever they want. I'm talking from experience. Is that you have to sit in the back of their organization place for a year and then write a letter to them that you repented of your sins and etc. But they're not God. They're not Jesus. Why are we doing this? And it just it goes on and on and on. So what they have a habit of doing is when they shun somebody, they read their name out during the week at one of their meetings, and then Sunday give a sermon on whatever it was that they done, like fornication or whatever it is. And so people are not dumb, they put two and two together. But this is how they do things. And I used to always question, why is he off scot-free, basically, because that's a tap tap. There, Johnny, go stand in the corner kind of thing. That's what it looked like. While she's getting the, raw deal here. And she has to sit in the back and, and it just felt so unbalanced is the word I'm going to use. It felt so unbalanced. And what I realized growing up within this organization is that women are only good to be seen when they want you to be, and for procreation, and to be subservient to their spouse. Whatever they tell you to do it. And if you don't, then you jeopardize sitting in front of their organization of men. Why are you not subservient to the needs of your spouse? And it just gets crazy. And I just felt like this is not something that I could see myself being involved with. And so at the age of 23, I got kicked out. And, back then, excuse me, guys, back then, it felt like the worst thing in my life. But as I look back and who I am today, it's the best thing that happened to me, because I would never be the person I am today. All the trials and tribulations, like I said, come into our reason in our life for a reason. These things are not meant to stay, because if they were, they would still be there. And the category I said, lessons. And once the lessons are learned, we move on. And and I see certain individuals from time to time, and I would just question, this is not what God wants. I mean, it's like shunning. It's like condemning a person, and nobody has a right to condemn another human being but God, and these people take it upon themselves. So whatever it is, but all I knew that it was not for me. And I have a connection with God today. Excuse me. I have a connection with God today, where I don't have to go through another man and woman. I can talk to God through Jesus and have a connection with him, that way. And whatever I do or don't do, that's between me and God. It's not for somebody to judge me, and I had to learn this, because for a long time, it took me a long time to value myself and my self-worth, because it's not just with them. It's just like, just in general, women are just third-class citizens to some people and organizations. They devalue women. Only, they're only good for certain things, and that's it. But if you're an independent woman like myself, and you also have a relationship with God, and you don't march to the beat of their drum, then, oh, they despise you. And I get a lot of pushback, But as I grow and heal, stay in prayer, meditate, help others through these videos, and these things help myself, my life is not what's the word I'm looking for, guys? It's not restricted to, you can't talk to that one over there. Why are you there? Because I was always, people would come to me and talk to me even as a teenager within the organization. And one guy I used to meet with a lot, and we were just talking. He had a lot of problems. I would listen, and he said that there was something soothing about the way I listened, and I didn't judge him or whatever. And we would just talk. I got in trouble for that. And it's like I kept getting into trouble for these little things. And then one day I just went, did something, and outside the organization, met with someone, and that was it, and had a relationship with that person for a minute and got thrown out. And the things I started to question is like things that would take place, and it would be things that should be reported to the authorities. That's going to be another video. I'm not going to do that today, but I'm just using as an example. And if you went to them, and it had to do a lot with these certain men within an organization, and you report things, it should be presented to the authorities what's happening here. And they would say, no, we will handle it. No, this particular situation needs to be presented to authorities. And if you said you were going to do that, they would, well, in my case, they would say you're going to be excommunicated for going to the authorities. This is a real serious situation. So things of that nature made me start to question what they were doing. And I just, was never going to come back. And it showed me, it took a long time on how to connect with God and have a relationship with Him and have answered prayers. And I started, as I was down to the ground, like I felt like Job in the Bible, or even worse in some cases. As I climbed back up with the help of God, I learned how to make vows that I can keep. And God is honoring those vows because I see the blessings in my life, helping other people. If I can help somebody and save them from depression or anything, then I'm helping perhaps to save that person's life, because there's a lot of imbalances that take place today. And a lot of it has to do with women, race, and or hate, the hate train, and you do what I tell you kind of attitude. It is by the grace and mercy of God that any of us woke up today, because tomorrow is not promised to us. None of us is entitled to a damn thing. It is by the grace and mercy of God that any of us are here. And we should be thanking Him that we woke up today, And people get things twisted sometimes. They start to ego trip and have this complex of self-righteousness, and then starting to condemn other people and etc. And what I do is remove myself from individuals like that, because these people are all around you, and I just know what I want in my life, what I don't. And it's important, guys, and I'm talking about all of this because as you grow, heal, and evolve, you don't do the toxicity anymore. And if people feel that way, we can't help how they feel, but we don't have to be a part of it. And if you are in a situation where abuse is taking place, my advice is to set boundaries. I never tell anybody, oh, you should leave, do this, but set boundaries for yourself. I know I started with setting boundaries, going to therapy, because I had to, what's that word that I'm looking for, where you have to not rethink, but you have to break yourself down and build yourself up again. There's a certain word, but it's not in my head right now at the moment, but you guys know what I mean. And reconditioning your mindset from thinking that, because all that I went through, it was like my worth didn't mean anything. And I had to break myself down, recondition my mindset, and say, I am worth it. To God, I am worth it. You guys are worth it to God. And it doesn't matter what people are telling you. You know, you have to know your self-worth. And one of the ways to do that is to heal yourself. Put yourself first. Stop being subservient to other people if that's what you're doing. Because I was doing that all the time, over giving, doing things, and people were using me like a doormat, and I was allowing it and thinking that this is how it's supposed to be. It doesn't have to be that way. When you learn to what's for your highest good, you don't allow people to disrespect you anymore. When people are hell bent on disrespecting me, I leave them where they are. I don't have to get into no altercation, using profanity, none of that. I'm going to leave you there and let you stay there. And I'm going to be over here working on myself and finding people who are on the same page with me. That's important as you start to heal, grow, and evolve. You don't have to tolerate. And one of the things I get into conversations with other women about is that you don't have to tolerate certain things. You have options, you have choices. You don't have to stay. And that's one of the things I was going through in relationships. It's like, girl, sit down, shut up. Where are you going? And at least I am today. I don't have to put up with an ounce of it. I can leave you where you are and I can move on over here, you know, and that's my attitude today. I'm still a person who give and help people, but not an overgiver, and not let someone use me as a doormat, especially family members, because we share DNA or last name or whatever, that I'm responsible to help you when you have these burdens. Remember, I talked about burdens before, guys. We already have our own things that we have to deal with. Why would we go and carry somebody else's burdens? Just because we share the same DNA or name, that's their burdens to carry. It's not your cross to carry. People are responsible, adults are responsible for themselves. In the first place that I started was therapy, because once I did that, I was able to figure out everything else as I continue to stay on that path. And it's important. It's important to also bring new people in your life who appreciate you. New beginnings that I talk about. When you learn those lessons, those doors from the past of abuse and toxicity and all the craziness, those doors get closed now and padlocked because you learned the lessons. And now you don't have to repeat them. So now you can walk over here and open up this other door of new beginnings with new people who are going to value you, people who are going to be on the same page with you, people who are going to love and care about you, people who value who you are instead of the toxicity and the negativity. You don't need that anymore. You learned the lesson, so those doors are closed. Now you can move forward. And it doesn't matter who like that. Those who don't like it is because they haven't healed. They're not doing the work to heal. When you start to heal, grow, and evolve, it has nothing to do with ego, that because you're self-loving, you're in this place of ego. No, you're not. We all are supposed to love ourselves. Love yourself enough to know to take care of your physical and mental health. Because, guys, when you stay in a place of toxicity and negativity and all this stuff, these things cause health problems. You're stressed out, and the stress can lead to other health related issues. And when, for me, I don't need it. And I've learned, okay, I'm going to leave this over here. And it does. And one of the things that I would have issues with is that, okay, it's not working out and we can't come to an understanding or agreement. So the answer is to bid you farewell and wish you well and move over here. And some people, they don't want to see you grow and move on. And it's like, well, I'm going to leave you where you are. Sometimes for me, it was best to close that door, cut off, block, and delete. And people feel some kind of way when you start to work on yourself and do better, because they can't use you anymore. They can't take advantage of you. You're not that doormat to them anymore, or that ATM machine to them anymore. So they feel some kind of way. And I have changed so much for the better. I'm not in a place of, I'm in a place of humility, not arrogancy or fighting with people or none of that, because, and I also have learned if someone says, let's say, for example, I go on a date and, think this is going somewhere, and this person say, well, you're a nice person, but I don't think this is going to work out. Yeah, I'm human. I'm going to have some kind of feeling about it, but I'm going to say, okay, I guess it's not meant to be. Go on. And then I'm going to move on eventually. Not the old Lisa where I'm devastated and I'm in a ball in a corner crying my eyes out for, oh my God. I don't do that anymore. I look at life and situations and things from a different perspective. I look at things happen for a reason. Remember, a reason, a season, a lifetime, or a lesson. And sometimes some of these lessons are painful, but they are molding us and teaching us. And once we learn it, we don't have to repeat it. We can move on, guys. So teaching people how to respect you and treat you is so important. Sometimes they don't want to get on the same page with you. Sometimes you have to set boundaries. In my case, setting boundaries wasn't enough. I had to close a lot of doors. But it taught me, it trained me, and let me know that these are lessons I do not want to repeat. My peace of mind is everything. I now, for the first time, I understand what my mother meant when she said, I just want peace. Because when you get to the place of inner peace, all these other things you're unbothered by, because some of these things are not meant to stay in your life forever, that they are only there to teach you lessons. So that's the message today. Remember, guys, it is so good to be in a place of peace than to be broken down, busted, and disgusted and broken down into pieces. Peace is better. That's the message today. Please pass this on to others. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you for being here today. And I'll be back sometime tomorrow with a new message. I'm not sure what time tomorrow. So subscribe to the channel so that you guys can know when I'm here. Okay? That's the message, guys. And you have a great Tuesday, and I'll see you tomorrow. This is Lisa, shedding love and light. Thank you, guys. Bye for now.